with the anniversary soon approaching, I feel like we could go ahead and just look at some of the info again for a lot of these banners and stuff, and kind of discuss all of my thoughts and opinions on it and what is the best course of action, I would say. So the banners and everything are going to drop around the 7th, because that's basically the same time period that they always do all of these anniversary units. I can go through all of them and we could just see it, like, it's always around the 7th, around the 9th, you know. All of these anniversaries are all basically at the beginning of July. That's just how they do it, right? So we can see that for JP, obviously they got it on the 29th, but the banners were obviously very, very good. We'll talk about them in a second. We get the Dokkan Awakening stage. We get the Dokkan Awakening medals for doing the missions, which is really nice. The ticket banners, the coin exchanges, another redstone, which hopefully we could see Physical Kid Buu for. We'll have the Dragon Stones that you can buy and then get LRs with them, which are nice because they are already pre-awakened, which is really, really good. More Stale Stones, all that good stuff. Get a story event to get the... I can't remember what actually this was for. Oh yeah, the Int Frieza. I don't know if he was actually good or not. Let me just double check. I want to say no, only because he hasn't really shown up a lot. Key in defense, key... Forces enemy super attack with pure Saiyans or movie heroes. I guess he's like a nice voter, I guess. I don't know. I would say probably not. Yeah, the Extreme Battle Spectacle. That's going to be definitely hard for sure. I'll talk more about that event specifically once we actually do get it. So just for that, just for now, we'll go ahead and skip that. Just know that that's obviously a very difficult stage. More boss rush stones and all that. We are going to get this in the in both part 1 of the anniversary, part 2 and part 3, but then also in the countdown celebration we are going to get the first we're gonna get the first part of this, I believe, because in the last stages, yeah. So for global, we thought for sure that we were gonna get at least like the up to Harudagarn and then maybe get the 6th and 7th stage, but with the release of Super Saiyan 3 Goku and into Harudagarn, we now know for sure that no, we are not going to get the first 5 stages. We're just going to get it in the time period, and then the last 2 will be during the anniversary, basically. Yeah, because that's from what I've heard, the stages aren't even that hard either. Some pre-battle spectacle is definitely much more high up there, right? Oh yeah, I totally forgot about this EZA. We can go ahead and look at that as well at the end. Well, I'll go ahead and close that out. So the EZAs, and then these 2 EZA as well. So let's just go ahead and look at the banners now. Unfortunately, I can't show part 2, by the way, because I don't really know how I'd format it, but the Dokkan Wiki doesn't have it where there's a part 2 and part 3. So I can kind of just show it when I go ahead and look at the 9th year anniversary. It just shows this. If I go on to the timeline of the anniversary, I believe, and I click on something like the countdown campaign, it just goes back to part 1, right? So without like literally having 60,000 tabs, I really can't. Anyways, now we can start getting into the banners. So Gogeta is obviously very, very good. He is a top 5 LR, and probably just a top 5 unit in the game too. He's just insane, right? Especially once he goes blue, has it where he can do the active skill, has it where he can do the healing, has it where he can do the healing for 4 turns, meaning that even when you do transform, his next appearance will still have that HP recovery, which can definitely be helpful at times. Attacks are effective against all types, so you just go full additional. He gets key really easily. He also has it where he changes key spheres to rainbow as well. Like, he's just incredibly crazy, right? He also gets guaranteed crits with once you evade 5 times. So it's just like full additional city for this guy. for sure. And then he also has the defense stacking in base form as well. But most of the time you don't want to stay in base for like more than just 1 turn. 1, because he only guards for 3 turns. And then the second thing is because he can just start activating it from the 4th turn. So most of the time you either float him or keep him around for that, and then boom, you know, he just gets like 10 times better post transformation. But yeah, he's insane, right? And then where is, did I not pull it up? 1 second. All right, so I didn't pull up Broly, but I'll show it now. So Broly's banner is also pretty good. We already saw how Gogeta was also going to be good as well, but I'm going to talk specifically about the units first, and then we can go ahead and look at the banners. So we already talked about Gogeta and how he's amazing, and I think Broly definitely is up there. Gogeta might just be better. It really depends on the situation. Broly as a unit is better, but what Gogeta is doing overall is better for the team, if that makes sense. Because it obviously has it where he can make it where you obviously don't have to worry about the other units when with super attacks, because Gogeta could just go ahead and dodge and use the active skill and do all that good stuff, right? So Broly is still insane though. When he is in base form, he can be a little bit on the weaker end for sure, but once you do go into full power on turn 5, he kind of dominates the fight. Not only is he getting lots of ki both here and here, he's getting 300% attack and defense, he's guarding all attacks, he's getting an additional 26% damage reduction while his domain is active before he attacks, which is because he already has a active skill that will pop the domain no matter what. It makes it where, yeah, he's gonna look like 10 times gazillion times better, right? Gets additional supers like literally everywhere, right? Launch an additional super attack when attacking. Launches an additional super attack and chance of performing 26% when performing an ultra super attack. Launches an additional super attack if his ki is 24. There's a lot of times, a lot of clips where this guy just pops like 5. He pops so many super attacks, and guess what? They're all hitting for like 20+ million. His domain is making it where extreme class allies and enemies will get 10% attack and defense. Then an additional 10% if they're on exploding rage or movie bosses, while also debuffing super class allies, increasing super class allies and enemies damage received by 10%. He's like Future Gohan if Future Gohan gave attack and defense buffs as well, right? Especially because with a lot of these new fights, guess what? All of the toughest fights from the Supreme Battle Spectacle are all super class. So he's making it where he's just cooking up everything. So he is just up there. I don't know why I had 2 tabs of this. I guess I did pull him up. Int Golden Frieza is a pretty good unit to run on the Super Bosses team as well. He gets damage reduction by 60% on his first turn. Then he gets an additional 50% on his second turn, as long as you get 3 or more key spheres obtained. And then he reduces damage received by 40% with 3 or more key spheres obtained starting from the 5th turn, while also getting an additional 20% damage reduction as long as you have a Super Bosses category ally attacking in the same turn. Not like the hardest thing in the world, because if we go ahead and look at, I don't know, the Super Bosses category, there is tons and tons of units to run on this team. We got obviously Broly over here, Texamasu, the new physical Rose, as well as a couple of just smaller options here and there. Ain't Rose, he's okay at this point. Physical Broly, Chile, and Lemo are definitely pretty good. You know, like just all of these like small options here and there just make it where most of the time, even like Kefla and stuff like that, most of the time you are going to have it where there are going to be a Super Bosses category ally in the turn, especially if you're like running a double Broly rotation as well. So yeah, like Golden Frieza, Broly, and Gogeta, and from part 1 are all insane. Now let's go ahead and talk about the banners of this, right? So Gogeta, he's pretty good. I don't want to downplay it for sure, but the main issue is just like the main thing about the banners that I would definitely say, just like going for something like a red coin banner would probably be better, but that doesn't mean that this banner isn't outright still good. STR UI, who we could just pull up really quickly, is going to EZA as well. So like when he EZAs, he's getting a ton and tons of buffs. I don't remember what part he does drop though. Let me look up, because I do want to shuffle these kind of together. Okay, was it 25th? So it's like His was more so like around this time period, I guess, right? Yeah, the EZAs, like when they dropped them was kind of weird. Because they did like February 5th, they did February 22nd, they did February 25th. Like they just basically dropped 2 for every single part, more or less. But if we go ahead and look at this banner, 1, 2, 3 units got EZA'd. 4 units, I'm sorry, yeah, 4 units did get EZA'd. So 1, 2, 3, 4 of these units got EZA'd. Gogeta is obviously really good. Sort of hope Trunks can still get some work in for sure. Kid Gohan, he's a little bit aged out, I would say for sure, but like he's not the worst. He's not the worst. Metal Cooler sucks. Metal Cooler sucks. He's probably coming up on an EZA pretty soon. Goku sucks. Goku sucks. But yeah, when we look at it like that, like 4 of these units here, you can pull and be like, damn, I didn't get the worst thing in the world, right? Because these guys can EZA. And if not, you get 2 units, you're like, damn, these guys are actually pretty good, right? You know, we can go ahead and look at the Broly banner for sure. And guess what? It's the exact same thing. Golden Frieza, obviously a really top tier side banner unit. Like he probably is just the #1 side banner unit right now. Actually, I want to take that back. I haven't used him enough to say that yet. Because I definitely need to get... I need to summon for him and I need to use him before I'm able to like thoroughly say that. But he's definitely top 3. I would say that he's up there in the tier of like King Vegeta, you know, this guy. Can't really think of any other side banner units off the top of my head that are like just the best, right? But like he's basically King Vegeta tier is what I'm trying to say, right? Texamasu, once we get the domain update, like the thing that I always talk about is the fact that his domain is just literally, well, okay, not his domain, his transformation, his domain transformation is literally just the best in the game. Having it where you nullify anything, everything is nullified is insane, because you put him in slot 1 and you will take 0 damage. That is a ability that will forever and always be something that is top tier, especially because his first turn, when he is not transformed, has 80% damage reduction, because he gets 20% here, 20% here, and then 40% just base, right? And then you obviously need to get him on turn 5, unfortunately. So he'll still have 60% damage reduction on his second appearance, but it is what it is, right? But yeah, like Zamasu is still top tier. Z-Duo can still get put in some work. We saw how inside of my showcase that I did against Kid Buu, which is really funny because it's canon. Even when we have it where our attacks are getting nullified because of stupid reasons, the Spirit Bomb just does so much damage that building it up and having it where, again, you're not taking 0 damage, but with guard, a whole bunch of defense that transfers over from the stacks you've been doing, the 8% damage reduction per key sphere you get, having it where you change rainbow key spheres, like you're getting damn near so much damage reduction, right? It's almost unkillable. It's not unkillable, but it's almost unkillable. Like all of these units are definitely very good. Gogeta and Vegeta are still putting in some work. This guy gets an EZA. This guy already got an EZA, but he's kind of mid. But yeah, the Super Saiyan Blues, again, well, I'll talk about them more when we talk about the EZAs. But yeah, like all three of these EZA options are like just top tier, right? But yeah, like technically you can use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units on here, and they're all really good, right? Sorry, I didn't include 3. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units on here are extremely valuable for just everything, right? Cooler is going to be un-EZA'd for like 2 years. Gods are going to be EZAing next year. So, and for global, it's even going to be sooner. It's going to be 7 months, because we're going to definitely get the sync for the anniversaries. I don't see why not. So let me go ahead and close these tabs out. Now we can go ahead and look at part 2 banners. So things get even more crazy. Bulma's on here, extremely well valued still to this day. The second that they drop another Earthbred Fighters unit, guess who's gonna be there? Bulma. Bulma's just going to be that GOAT of supporting everyone, getting guard, getting damage reduction. Doing multi-turn support is insane. Being able to tank normal attacks is going to be insane. The next time, like I said, we get an Earthbred Fighters category, she's boosting it and she's going back to like top 10 tier. Maybe not top 10 in the game or top 10 LRs, but definitely like maybe the number 1 or number 2 coin LR in the game. We can go ahead and look at some of the other units. So Gammas are obviously crazy. Future Gohan is crazy. Kai Goku can still get some work in, but he's definitely getting to the point where even with his 18 key and getting hit by the normal attacks, those normals just do way too much to him now. Bird-Q, same issue, but 10 times worse, unfortunately. But his revive could still be really good for getting some of these units that do need the revives very early on, such as like Int Boo, for example. Not that I would know what team you would run Bird-Q and Poo on though, but like some of these early revive units like Bird-Q can still get some value in some of these events. Fusion Zamasu sucks. Rose, STR Trunks also STR God Goku, I feel like his value is a little bit underrated. Believe it or not, he's gonna have the same amount of damage reduction as Piccolo, which is, or the Tech LR Piccolo, which is the 30%. But then because he does just so many super attacks and has so many multiplicative stats here, and everywhere, if you do run him on rotation, fun fact, this guy can get as high as Tech Piccolo's defense, which is insane. So he's just like a mini Tech Piccolo, just without the super attack nullification. But he can get some work. Maybe I'm just biased because I'm God Goku, you know? Maybe. That's going to basically be the part 2 banners as well. We can go ahead and look at Beast. I think that out of all the banners, I'd probably say that like maybe, I don't know which one I would skip the most. Beast is obviously insane. Do I even need to do Beast? Do I even need to say anything? Yeah, I guess I will. So he greatly stacks attack infinitely on both his 18 key and 12 key, I'm pretty sure. No. Okay. Just his 18 key, my bad. Sorry, I had to sneeze. His unit super attack gives critical support, which is insane. But it's only for 1 turn. And then he also action breaks. We kind of need a new Piccolo. But I'm not going to lie, the Tech Piccolo that we have now is pretty good, I think. But, like, especially because he's on superheroes. But I think that the superhero team is so stacked that most of the time, I guess you don't really want to be bringing Piccolo. But I won't lie and say that, like, Piccolo is bad, for sure. He gets damage reduction 20% as when he is having 24 key. And remember, it says when receiving an attack. So he gets that damage reduction before, unlike somebody like Future Gohan, for example, who only does it afterwards. He reduces damage by 40% for 5 turns. He guards. He has it where he gets an additional 20% damage reduction somewhere. I think he gets one more, doesn't he? Isn't it 80% damage reduction he can get up to? Maybe it's only 60. Let me double check real quick. 1 second. I knew I wasn't crazy. It was at the end. He gets an additional 20% damage reduction in all allies key +2 from starting from the turn in which the character performs or receives their 5th or an 8th attack in battle. So if they perform 5 attacks or receive their 8th attack, he like that is so good still. Because we also pair that with the 3 key you also give allies, and it's kind of crazy. Oh, and then most of the time we're going to be putting this guy in slot 1 as well anyways, because he's just going to be the turn 1 demigod, right? And we can go ahead and look at the Gammas, because I kind of forgot about them too. So Gammas are like, I'm not going to say underrated, because the truth would kill me. So we'll just say that they're very, very good. Their base form is decent enough. Then they do standby, and then they do Gamma 1. We'll go ahead and look at all 3 of them now. So Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 have pretty good, decent super attack effects. They have it where they're doing insane support to superheroes. Guess what? Top team in the game is Join Forces and Defenders of Justice. They give 3 key and 50% attack and defense to those characters, meaning that, oh, I don't know, these two categories, superheroes and defenders of justice, guess what Gamma 1 is going to be on? The STR Gamma 1. That's right, he's back, baby! He also has the critical hit chance and additional super attack when he gets key spheres. He does stuff when he gets AGL or STR as well. So, pretty good, pretty decent, right? He also has it where when he does 3 super attacks in battle, or sorry, 3 attacks in battle, meaning if you just get 3 int key spheres or 3 AGL key spheres, he will have 30% damage reduction as well, which is, like I said, pretty good, pretty good. It's not bad at all, for sure. Then once you get to 70% or less after performing 3 attacks in battle, that's when he starts getting crazy as well. Sorry about that. So once we do get the standby up as well, it goes into Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 with the Gamma 1 right here, because once he goes into standby, he obviously goes into Gamma 1, so it has that like little, it's really funny. Okay, so anyways, once you do have this, not only are you starting to do the superclass ally support for 1 turn with the ultra super attack, because just like Super Trunks, you are obviously getting the attacks in still, which is pretty nice. You know, I do like it for sure. You're getting 50% damage reduction at the start of turn, which is very good compared to the 30% once you do the additional attacks. Obviously, it's very, very nice for sure. But then you also have it where you are getting the support still, which is the same. I'm pretty sure it doesn't go, yeah, 3 key 50%. The chance of performing critical hit once you do the int key spheres as well. More additional super attacks, except I think before it's not guaranteed. No, it is guaranteed. Okay. Great chance when it's AGL or STR. That's what it was. Okay. And then, let's see. Has a great chance. Yeah, it's still a great chance when it's STR or AGL. Okay. But yeah, the damage reduction increase is definitely still very nice. These little stats increases as well. So going from the 3 key 125 to just 6 key 250, like that's really nice. And like I said, the main part here is the support. Most of the time, you do not build this guy up as much as possible, by the way, because you will go into Gamma 1. Gamma 1 will now have it where the Ultra Super Attack will increase Super Class Allies defense by 50% for 2 turns, which is very, very insane to say the least. However, you lose 15% damage reduction. You lose 50, and then you go down to 15. You get an additional 15% damage reduction when your HP is 30% or more. Then you also get an additional damage reduction per int or STR key sphere obtained, which is nice. He also changes AGL key spheres to int, another nice thing. But the only thing is that like it kind of messes up Topo a bit. I'm pretty sure it was, no, it was it Rebrand? I can't remember what unit that this guy kind of like clashes with, but either way, he still keeps the support as well. So all of this is kind of like adding into each other for sure, which is nice. He does get less super attacks, unfortunately. However, this one is just guaranteed. He doesn't need to do multiple different conditions like getting it where it's the only int to get it guaranteed, or STR and AGL will have a 70% chance. It's just you get an additional while attacking, which is nice. But yeah, he's insane for sure, for sure. Obviously, Beast is good. We already talked about that. We'll go ahead and look at Krillin and 18. So Krillin and 18 are very good support units. It's just that they need to dodge in a very weird design choice. They have a 30% dodge chance. They get an additional 30% dodge chance. Chance of performing critical chance. And super, yeah, he gets the 30% dodge chance. And they also give 1 key to superclass allies when there is a superclass allies attacking in the same turn. I believe it's only once, so it's just a 60% dodge chance. Then they get an additional 30% attack and defense with each attack evaded up to 90, an additional 180% attack and defense within the same turn before receiving an attack. So as soon as you dodge, As soon as you stop dodging, you lose a lot of stats for sure. But as long as your HP is 50% or more at the start of turn, you get super heroes, categories, allies, except for them, get 50% attack and defense for 2 turns. Which is really, really good, obviously. So as a floating support, these guys are going to be doing fine, for sure. It's just the 60% dodge chance that turns into 30% if you don't dodge that first attack. Going full dodge into them is definitely going to be their move, but I just don't personally like losing dodge chance on a supporting character. I'd rather them just have kept that 60%. But it's not like they're unusable. They're still very, very good because of that attack and defense support for sure. GT Duo can still get put in some work. AGL Super Saiyan Blue Duo exist. They could still get some work in, I can't lie, but there's so many fights that just like it just hurts. It makes them hurt. It hurt me emotionally. These guys are upcoming on an EZA at this point. 7th year, same thing. They're getting an EZA very, very soon. At least January. That's when we know. Yeah, and then MUI into Vegeta. Like both of these guys in EZAs are insane. Gobro's already got their EZA. Physical Piccolo already got their EZA. They're both kind of trash at this point. But yeah, like this banner is obviously very, very incredible. Not only do you have 1, 2, 3 of the best units in the game all on the same exact banner, but also there's some decent options here and there. We already talked about Beast. We'll go ahead and look at some of the EZA units now. Let me make sure that I order them in the correct thing. 5th, 22nd, 25th, and 11th. Okay, so you guys were like right here. So in part 1, we are going to get the Bardock and Gine, which actually are very, very decent. So they get the massively raising attack and defense for 1 turn compared to the greatly before EZA. Then they also raise allies attack and defense by 22% for 2 turns, which is something that we only saw well, there's any support from them before with the active skill. Now it's just boom, you know, it's really nice. But most of the time you're gonna be floating these guys, so you will really only see the benefits on the 2nd turn. That being said, 122% attack and defense, 122% additional attack and defense, and 4 key, and recovers 22% HP if HP is 50% or less for once only. When there's an ally whose name is Goku on the team. Wow, easiest condition, especially when there's an MUI. Plus an additional attack and defense 122% when attacking when there's a bond of parent and child. Category ally attacking the same team, or same turn, excuse me. Another very, very easy thing. Plus an additional 122% attacking defense when there's a movie boss, and if that movie boss is if that character is a Frieza, they get an additional 4 key attack and 122% and perform a critical hit. Their active skill is still the same. The condition is always just going to be the same until they update that, but it's not bad because it does, guess what, remove all ally status effects. You know what, that will cancel out like 40% of the most difficult stuff in the game right now. Locking, sealing, stunning, all of that will be nullified from this. And it's not that hard of a condition either. Just when 80% or less starting from the 4th turn, then you get a decent attack boost as well by 22%. And because it's multiplicative, because it's an active skill, your character is going to be hitting 20 billion gazillion times harder. So yeah, not bad. It's just that, you know, you obviously need a Goku unit on the team. You need to protect this guy just a little bit because the stats aren't, they're kind of just all stats for sure. But the stats aren't that bad is what I'll say. The stats aren't that bad. This I genuinely do not hear anybody talk about, like, at all. I have heard no one talk about this guy since his release, which is very funny. They raise defense infinitely, they lower attack. Guess what, Kid Buu? These guys are killing you. No, I'm just kidding. They get additional 150% in attack and defense. Or I'm sorry, well, not just an additional. They get their 150% attack and defense. And a high chance of performing an additional super attack when they perform a super attack. They get 26% damage reduction with each super attack performed within the same turn. So they can technically get up to 78% damage reduction, which is really nice. But that is via hidden potential and the high chance. So you're not going to see it too often. They also give Pure Saiyans or Joined Forces category allies 3 key and 150% attack and defense, 3 key and 180% attack when there is a superheroes or a Pure Saiyans enemy, by the way, with an additional high chance of performing a super attack when there is that enemy. So guess what? Let me paint a scenario for you. Now, you guys may have already seen this, but I just kind of talked about it, right? You perform the super attack. You have the high chance, right, to perform the additional super attack. That's 26% damage reduction. So we're already at 52. If you win the coin flip again, that's 78. If you win the hidden potential, you're at over 100% damage reduction. Not bad. The key support. The attack and defense support. Not bad. Raising defense infinitely. Not bad. Lowering attack. Somehow coming back. Granted, this is a slot 2 or a slot 3 unit, but pretty decent option, I would say. Or it's all RNG for sure. But then again, it's not the worst. Like, if you can at least get 2 super attacks, that's 52% damage reduction while you're infinitely raising defense and having insane support, 3 key, 50% attack and defense to 2 of the biggest categories in the game, Pure Saiyans and Joined Forces combined, is probably insanely massive. Obviously, Pure Saiyans is just Pure Saiyans. Joined Forces is slowly getting more and more characters on it with something like the 8th Year Duo, for example. And Pure Saiyans and superheroes is not like a hard restriction to do against enemies, right? Especially with Supreme Battle Spectacle. So yeah, I would say that they're not a bad option for sure. There's not like one bad EZA from this. Then we go into part 2 of the anniversary, I'm pretty sure, with the Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. So both of these units are, well, I say both of these units, but the same unit. Both of these characters are obviously really nice, and the animations still hold up somewhat. Like, some shots can look very iffy for sure. I still think the active skill has some of the nicest animations, though. Don't at me. Or one of the coolest moments. Don't at me. The Ultra Super Attack has it where before it was only doing greatly, now it is doing massively, greatly lowering attack and defense. Guess what, Kid Buu? Bam, bam, bam. Now you do nothing, right? And because it's not a punch super attack or a melee super attack, we are completely fine. Ki plus 470% attack and defense, you know, changing a certain type when there's another superheroes category. Guess what? You're mostly going to be running this guy in superheroes anyways, or with MUI, with Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta, with Beast, with all of these characters that you would, again, want to run next to him anyways. Gets an additional 2 key as well. Plus, every single time that you get a Rainbow Key Sphere, you also get damage reduction by 7%, get 77% crit chance, and you have a high chance to perform an additional super attack that can go up to 3 times per key sphere that is Rainbow obtained. They get an additional 70% attack and defense when key is 18 or more. They also perform a critical hit when they are 24 key, and when 50% or less. They reduce damage received by 70% when attacking. Guess what? Can be activated when 50% or less. One of the easiest active skill conditions in the game, specifically because it has no turn restriction. And guess what these bosses do? They get you under 50% HP and like 2 hits, especially at the start of fights when a lot of characters are building up. So not bad. Then when you pop the active skill, you're obviously getting the minus 50% defense buff, which does hurt, but guess what? Because you're having that 70% damage reduction, it really doesn't matter, especially post super attack. Their attack is going to be sky high through the roof, and their defense will be looking very bad, especially post super attack. It's still not going to look the best, but they'll have the 70% damage reduction to cover it, as well as the 7% with each key sphere obtained, as long as it's Rainbow. So yeah, they're very decent, and they definitely help out a lot of the Power Beyond Super Saiyan's missions, which makes me very upset. So then we get into the 2 best units in the game, or sorry, we get into number 2 and number 3 of the best units in the game, right? So yeah, can I skip these? I just say that these guys are good. They have a very decent buff from their leader skill, going from 170% to 180%, making them not the worst leaders if you do want to run a full Representatives of Universe 7 lead, which has gotten tons and tons and tons of buffs. We got obviously MUI, we got Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, we have the STR UI Goku, we have the physical Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta and Goku. We're kind of just missing 2 options right now before we're able to make a complete and full team. But you know, these guys are good enough where that probably won't be for too long, right? We're definitely like on the horizon of that for sure, especially with stuff like Int Team 7 being up and coming for its EZA. But yeah, we got the high chance of performing a critical hit for 1 turn still on their 12 and 18 key, but they also give critical hit ally support and also affecting them as well, so they'll have 57% crit chance. And then they also just do that on the 12th key as well. And most of the time, we're going to be doing multiple super attacks on the 12th key too. So for that specific turn, you're just going to have like 21% crit chance support, which is crazy. Especially, and that's not even counting if you run like Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta and MUI Goku, of course. So Goku is insane. He dodges the first attack guaranteed. So obviously those attacks where I was talking about where you're just very scared. Something like Kid Buu, for example, where the second rotation will have it where he will get like a 2 million super attack that hurts. Put MUI Goku in slot 3 and wow, no damage done. Which is insane. They get an additional 200% attack and defense at the start of turn, and an additional 77% attack and defense when their HP is 77% or more. He gets a chance of launching an additional super attack and evading an enemy's attack. Plus 77%. Is that chance of launching an additional super attack? And Am I just dyslexic? Why am I having a hard time reading this? Chance of launching additional super attack and chance of evading enemies attack, including super attack 77%. I'm assuming that just means that he has a 77% chance of launching an additional super attack and a 77% chance of dodging an attack, which I think was confusing because it was just a great chance beforehand, wasn't it? Yeah, that's the reason why. That was what was confusing me. Excuse me for that. I was having this small aneurysm. But yeah, he also gets an additional 7% dodge chance within the same turn with every attack evaded, which is meaning that like if you put him in slot 1, he'll have 77%, then 84, then 80, or not, yeah, 84, then 91, then 98. Like he's insane, obviously, right? I'm just gonna speed through this, but anyways. So yeah, he also has it where he revives with 77% HP as long as your HP is 77% or less. Starting from the turn, he also gets an additional 77% attack and performs a critical hit when activating the active skill or when his key is 24 or more, which when you start with 7 key, when you get more key with each evasion that you do, and up to 10, like yeah, he's gonna get like that almost every single time. Evading enemies attack when he also has it where his revive is procced is very insane, because that means that later on in fights, if you do revive late into the fight, the next time you see this Goku, guess what? Guaranteed dodge, obviously. Very, very good. His active skill also is now a guaranteed crit as well, because of what we saw earlier, where it says when activating the active skill. So before, obviously this used to hit like a wet blanket if it didn't crit. Now you don't even have to worry about that. The only issue is both the 12 key and the active skill are melee based supers, so against something like Kid Buu, that's the only real issue of this guy. This guy, Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta, is even more insane, I would say. He does the same thing as Goku with the 12 key and 18 key basically, except now instead of dodging, he guards, which is really, really nice. He gets 50% damage reduction at the start of turn, which is a big plus compared to the 10% that he got beforehand. He gets an additional 10% damage reduction with each attack received or evaded, which is a really nice buff. And he gets that up to 30%, so he can have up to 80% damage reduction with the guard. I mean that basically his first turn is almost unkillable. He gets 3 key and an additional 30% attack and defense up to 120% with each attack performed, meaning that he's almost fully built up on the first or even second turn, right? He also launches an additional super attack that has a 77% chance of becoming a super. Or sorry, he just launches an additional attack that has a 77% chance of becoming a super. You guys know what it is. 77% attack when performing active skill or 24 key. Again, another easy character to get. When you have 10 key here, 7 key here, it's very insane. Unlike Goku, his revive can be activated with the 5 or more attacks in battle. He will recover the 77% HP. Or he'll have the revive up permanently after he takes 5 or more hits, right? Which obviously is very, very insane. So the good part is that while Goku's is conditional with the HP restriction, this one is just, have to get hit 5 times, which is not like the most impossible thing to do, obviously. It can be a little bit difficult at times depending on which stage you're doing, but because he has the guard and like I was talking about the damage reduction, most of the time you are able to get hit 5 times for sure. He also guards all attacks instead of Goku, where he dodges, so obviously the dodge will be better, but that doesn't mean the guard with, the 50% damage reduction we were talking about earlier isn't going to be unusable. Not only that, but he also gets a big stat, key, and everything buff like Goku once he does revive as well. I don't think I talked about that, but I could just pull it up because he'll be like right here, but we could just see that he got the same thing, and I just forgot to talk about it. So he gets 7 key and 77% attack and defense, which is again making it incredibly easy to get the 24 key, if not just permanent once you do revive. This Goku is part of the countdown of the celebration, I'm pretty sure, by the way, that I forgot to put and I did it out of order, but we will see the leader skill get buffed. He's, I guess, kind of decent for something like what's it called? He's very decent for something like Battlefield with a leader skill, I guess. Like that's the only thing that comes to mind. He gets more defense post super attack, which is really good because before he got nothing. All it was disables enemy's guard, which was horrible at the time. But now at least he gets attack and defense while also raising allies' attack by 50% for 1 turn once he does the 18 key, which is a lot better. Disable the enemy's guard is still here though, but it truly just does nothing. It's so pointless, right? He has 177% attack and defense key +4 and a great chance of dodging these supers or attacks from the start of battle for 7 turns. Or sorry, start of his turn for 7 turns. Then he'll turn into a 50% chance starting from the 8th turn or higher. He also gets an additional chance of evading enemy super attack per representatives of Universe 7 attacking in the turn, not including himself. So this is also before receiving an attack, by the way. The second he gets hit, he loses that extra damage, or not, I want to say damage reduction. He loses that additional dodge chance. However, it does work, or it does combine into each other. So we can have 84% dodge chance at the start of turn if you're running like an STR UI, MUI, and into Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta rotation, or the Super Saiyan Blue duo. Like that will have it where like you'll have 84% dodge chance at the start of turn, which is not bad. He also gets an additional 77% defense for the rest of battle after evading 1 attack, which is nice. Gets an additional 77% attack for the rest of battle after evading attack as the first attacker in the turn. So you just have to put him in the first attack once, basically. Gets additional key attack and defense, and critical chance with each attack evaded, and that builds up, which is really, really nice because, all of these EZAs are amazing, obviously. All of the EZAs are just, like, insane. But yeah, that's basically it. That's all the stuff we have to look forward to for the anniversary. Like I said, I'll probably cover the events in more depth once we actually do get it. But we have a lot of stuff to get hyped for. So I want to ask you guys, other than Beast, because that's obviously the thing to get hyped for the most. In terms of EZAs, who are you looking forward to the most? I would probably say specifically the 7th tier EZAs are something that I'm looking forward to. I liked this, or I'm sorry, not 7th tier, 6th tier. The 6th tier EZAs are something that I've been looking forward to for a long time. MUI Goku has been a long time fan, or I've been a long time fan of, but this Vegeta is just, it's really nice because my OST discussion always has it where he is #1 for me personally. I just love it so much, especially with the revive animation. It's just insane, right? Or the active skill, either way. But yeah, Other than that, that is all the time we're gonna spend on this one. Hope you guys all have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.